Greetings, everyone. Oh, do, 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 do. Ah. Welcome to the Electric Avenue chat. Just doing a little bit of a small update today, a rundown of what's going on, things about masks. All right, so the CDC, as we know, recently lifted guidelines on masking. However, um, in my store, because I live with someone who is immune compromised, I will still be requiring mask wearing for the foreseeable future. I've had a couple people who've tried to come in without masks on, and that's been sort of disconcerting because I know that, many places like Walmart's and Lowe's and stuff like that, grocery stores, you'll see people like that. I really am trying to keep everyone as protected as possible. Just because you got vaccinated does not mean you have 100% protection, as we've seen with Yankees and Bill Maher. You can still get the virus. You may not go to the hospital, but you can still get it. So I think you know, I hope that people are happy with the fact that we're going back to a line instead of doing this curbside, because I know that while some people love the curbside, that was also sort of an impediment to those who didn't want to participate in a whole internet system and all that. So this is kind of making it sort of open again, and as much as I can. And to do that, I do not want this to turn into a super spreader for everybody's sake. So I will be limiting the number of people in the store at a time, maybe like a dozen. I will be requiring that while you're in the store, you're in a mask. If you're outside, that's up to you to social distance and police yourselves. But I'm kind of feeling that I'm running into. I feel bad for the people who, at the beginning of lockdown, March 2020, were very sad that they couldn't come to the store. And then, even when things opened up, they just felt really nervous about it, and they were just getting to the point where they were starting to feel safe, and then all the rules change because we want to make sure we open up as quickly as possible. And doing that, now they're terrified all over again that they're going to be walking into stores where masking is not required. And so I think just out of courtesy to them and being decent and not being selfish about it, we really do need to kind of keep extending this for just a little while. Wearing this, I do it 10 hours a day. If I can do it that much, it's very little to require other people to do it for the short amount of time that they're in here. And I don't think that's too much to ask. If you have an issue with that, that's on you. I will do my best to provide for emergency situations, but what I'm saying is be prepared. Bring your mask with you. You'll probably need it. Okay, because it's only 2 weeks away, right? I want this to be a fun event. So, and I've already started getting some stuff, which is pretty exciting. Let me show you two little things. One thing that's really kind of fun and exciting is I got a couple of these, well, a few of them. If you're into, I know they're, the suitcase record players, but a yellow submarine, Beatles. I mean, it's pretty darn cool. So, wow. So those will be exclusive release on the day of Record Store Day, June 12th. And records that are starting to arrive, things like Steely Dan's Two Against Nature. If you remember, this was the album of the year Grammy winner. It won in a very controversial year. 2000? Yeah. Sort of took the prize from a lot of other artists that were feted as being the winners. And, I think they just wanted to kind of reward Steely Dan for years and years of excellent work. Anyway, So it's beginning to arrive. So get excited, people. I'll show you more in a couple of weeks as we get really close. Anyway, so new releases this week. We finally got Taylor Swift Evermore, green vinyl. For some reason, the last few Taylor Swift records were not being allowed to be sold at indie retail. We didn't have Lover, um, didn't have Folklore. So this is kind of like a breakthrough for us because we're finally getting some of her. Even though I think we had some of the older ones, Speak Now and Red, 1980, 89. So anyway, our order was allocated. I think there was so much demand for this record that they had to kind of like decide who got how many. So I don't have as many as I wanted, but more than zero for now. They'll probably go fast. It's a holiday weekend. Okay, a couple cool David Bowie things. You probably saw it on the wall behind me, but Man Who Sold the World, a picture disc with a poster. Uh, normally the one in the dress is the first image, but I think this one is probably more my favorite image, even though it's not technically correct because of the timing. He would have been a little more in sort of like hippie looking mode at the time, or the fashionista kind of mode, whatever, with the more kind of like dresses and androgyny. Except the album is such a rocking album that that image kind of makes more sense. And then there's also this little CD box set called The Width of a Circle, which is kind of nice. It's a little book format. That's a great image, by the way. Um, yeah, this is like John Peel recordings and stuff like that. So CDs, hopefully at some point they'll make it to a record store day. I don't know. There was no real push for Bowie stuff this time. Apparently, he'd released some stuff online that was supposed to be record store day. I could have seen this Man Who Sold the World being a record store day, but whatever. Um, Czarface and MF Doom, RIP MF Doom. That's a cool piece. Some of the last recordings that Doom did with Czarface. King Gizzard, LW, which we had KG, and I think right now we're sold out of it. It's like on back order. It's like they can only keep one King Gizzard record in print at a time. But anyway, so there's that. I don't know how many people know this guy. I say his name Mdu Mokhtar. Mdu Mokhtar. Sort of a Saharan. I don't know. I've heard him described as a Saharan Jimi Hendrix. I don't know if I'd go quite that far. It's more African sounding, but this is a really cool sort of like rock record. Very African if you're into that. Robert Finley. So Sharecropper's Son. This album was produced by Dan Auerbach of Black Keys. So if you're familiar with that sound, this is the second album he's done with Finley. Very cool cover art. Love it. Band we haven't heard of in forever, Delamitri, back with a new record, Fatal Mistakes. Interesting to see them. Lou Barlow, new solo record. He just was on the new Dinosaur Jr. record, I believe, that came out last month. This is 17 new songs. So if you're into Lou, speaking of, I don't know, sort of luminaries, Gary Newman. You see that spooky picture there. So Gary kind of like, he's been recording the whole time, like 40 years apparently, but he's had dips in his career. His last record hit #2 in England. It was really popular. And this is very much like if you're into darker Depeche Mode, Nine Inch Nails, stuff like that. It's a little more melodic than some of that, but it's actually a really good record. Yeah, Black Midi, Cavalcade. I asked someone yesterday, I said, how would you describe this? And they're like, progressive. And I'm like, yeah, I get that. I don't know. I mean, the music is such a mix of a lot of things are spoken word, a lot in the vocals, and anyway, they're definitely a band to watch. Think outside the box. The new Lord Huron. I think they've been everywhere promoting this. Long Lost. They were on CBS Saturday last week. If you're familiar with Lord Huron, it's sort of Americana-ish, I guess. A little My Morning Jacket-esque, maybe. I don't know if that's a really good comparison. Hey, reissues, Violent Femmes added up. This is like a greatest hits kind of record. Right now, it's almost impossible to get their first album. For some reason, it's not in print. So this has Blister in the Sun, Gone Daddy Gone. It's got some unreleased live stuff. Good. It's been on CD, but I don't remember seeing it on vinyl. PJ Harvey continues her campaign of reissues with the Peel Sessions, which is awesome. In 1991 to 2004. Didn't think we were going to get that, but that's pretty cool. Speaking of Steely Dan, Donald Fagen's The Nightfly finally gets a reissue. So many of these were being sold in stores as used that this is sort of to help alleviate some of the demand there. Travis, probably their best album. I think The Boy with No Name, definitely up there. Best or second best, I think, for me. But if you're sort of into like Coldplay, but slightly edgier. Now, great record, World Party, Dumbing Up. First time on vinyl, I think. The last couple World Party albums were not available. Carl Wallinger, obviously, if you follow his story, a lot of health issues. I think, was it aneurysms or strokes or something like that. He's still around and still working, but his pace slowed quite a bit. Anyway, that's a really good record. Check it out. And then just a couple random things here. I had been putting off ordering this set for a little while because it was a little pricey, but it's actually really nice if you're into Mac Miller at all. And part of the reason that I have this, Swimming in Circles, it's his last two records, and then there's like a special booklet in there and special packaging. Part of the reason that I have this, though, is that his records have become impossible to get from distributors. Is that English? Distributors right now. They're just all back ordered. So got to have something Mac to offer people, especially with graduations coming up and whatever. It's a nice gift. And then finally, a couple of Philly-based things, Philly International Records. This is like a nice comp. It has The Love I Lost by Harold Melvin, Backstabbers by the OJs, If You Don't Know Me by Now, Harold Melvin, Love Train, OJs, Ain't No Stopping Us Now, Me and Mrs. Jones, Billy Paul, When Will I See You Again, 3 Degrees. I mean, good collection. And then if you're more into the CD, not CD, but CD side of things, they did this as a CD box set, not vinyl, although it's that size. It's Get on Board the Love Train, Philly International Records. It's an 8-disc set. This is volume 1. I'm kind of only keeping this as people want to order it. It's got like a 50-page book and a poster. But really, they say that there are going to be multiple volumes of this, and it's basically featuring every album that Philly International put out in a CD format. So if you're wanting this, I would not wait too long, because when they move on to volume 2 and volume 3, all of a sudden volume 1 will be ungettable and will cost a fortune, and you'll be like, why did I not get that? So that's if you're into CDs. All right. So I think that sort of covered everything. I talked a little bit about Record Store Day. So we'll be doing our normal 8 a.m. opening. So that usually means people start lining up in earnest around 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning. I know that's early. Hopefully it'll be warmer outside. You won't be freezing yourself as you would in April, although this weekend is supposed to be very cold and rainy around here. See, I don't know if there's anything else I need to say. sometimes people show up for these things. If they're really wanting something, I'll see people start lining up at midnight. I've had people when I walk out the door at 10 p.m. the night before that are waiting. So make your plans. Check the list on recordstoreday.com. I ordered more than I've ever ordered, and I think hoping it's going to be a good, successful one. We had 4 in a row last year, and I think people had a little bit of fatigue, and now it's, another 6, 7 months down the road. I think people are ready for it. So, all right. Thanks so much. Rockin' my KD. Have a great day. Peace. Happy holiday.